Welcome back to Our Community, visiting with Greg Steer, Dare to Share. And he also is eager to share all of the accolades and everything with a team, right, Greg? I gave you credit for being the brains behind it, but you said, oh, hey, I've got a team behind me. Let's give them a shout out now.
Yeah, I mean, a Dare to Share team. We have 26 people on staff. Debbie Versina, who's our president, has been with the ministry for 25 years and built this ministry internally. I'm just the face and the voice. I mean, I travel, train, equip. I'm on the road most of the time, but their whole team's grinding out apps and training tools and making Dare to Share Live work, and it's phenomenal. God's blessed us with a top-notch team that we're extremely grateful for.
The materials that you produce are just top of the drawer as well. Tell me about the app, first of all. Cool that you have one, but that it's so functional. Let's talk about it.
Well, we have 3 different apps. So one is a Dare to Share app, which is evangelism training, and it's all of our evangelism training free of charge. Get on the App Store, just Dare, the number 2, Dare to Share. So if you have a teenager or you want training yourself, just download the app. It's on there. It's how to reach a Mormon, Muslim, Buddhist, Jew, how to engage, not enrage. You know, how do you have a conversation, not just make a presentation? It's not just about winning an argument. It's about really winning a soul and winning a person with the good news of the gospel. So that's the Dare to Share app. We have a Life in 6 Words app, which is our evangelistic app. It's designed for Christians to be able to walk people through. There's 14 words on the cover and says, if you were to describe your life in 6 words, what would they be? And people choose which words would describe their life. And they say, why did you choose those words? And you're able to hear their story. And then you say, would you like to see the 6 words that the Bible may describe life as? And you walk them through 6 slides with 6 words and 6 sentences that explain the gospel. It's basically the GOSPEL, God, our sins, paying everyone life. Then we have a gospel advancing ministry app, which is for youth leaders to build a gospel advancing ministry year round. So if the Dare to Share app is training teens to chuck gospel seeds, the gospel advancing ministry app trains youth leaders to build greenhouses. So their youth ministry is not just an entertainment center, but a training center.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good.
Mobilization center. So, yeah. And it's all free. So all you got to do is get on the App Store and...
Yeah. These are available to everybody then?
Everybody. Free of charge.
Just go
like
to...
the gospel.
Like the gospel is free. So just go to your App Store and download which one or ones you would like to use.
Yep. Dare to Share, Life in 6 Words, or Gospel Advancing Ministry.
Awesome. And that's why you're here today. We really love to let local youth pastors know about this, about the movement. 27 years. You must do things a lot differently now than you did in the beginning. And talk about how it's evolved over the years.
Well, yeah. I mean, it had nowhere to go but up. And originally, it was just me in a room with... I remember we did our first training conference. We had 100 teenagers in a room that seated 2,000. And...
A little echoey.
I had no clue what I was doing except for... Yeah, just like, all right, I know how to train you and equip you. And now there's, there's curriculum, there's apps, there's lights and sound and bands. But at the end of the day, it all comes back down to the training and equipping and mobilization of students. And the premise, the teenagers are not the church of tomorrow. They are the church of today.
Oh,
and the reason we're losing them tomorrow is because we don't unleash them today.
There's a lot of teenagers who have not been brought up in a Christian home. There's a generation that didn't, and I'm going to say our generation did not necessarily do a great job, even though, taking the kids to church and everything. For some reason, a lot of families, that has been lost in this next generation. And I know parents who are hanging on to that, bring up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it. I know others who just say, I kind of blew it. I just didn't pass that on to the next generation. So you're reaching a lot of first-timers. People hearing about this like, my gosh, this is a secret? Why am I hearing about this for the first time? Are you surprised the reaction that you get from young people across the board?
I'm surprised that more people don't embrace this intuitively. I mean, it's basically everything we do at Dare to Share has been ripped off from the Gospels and the Book of Acts. There's nothing new. We call it a radical paradigm that's 2,000 years old. So it's,
Yeah.
The only difference now is our kids have social media and we have technology. It's the same stuff in the Book of Acts that brought excitement. I think one of the reasons people stopped going to church, and is we're just having another meeting because we're Christians, and that's what we do. Let's have a meeting. Let's have a big meeting. Let's have several meetings about the big meeting. Then let's do the big meeting, and let's have another meeting talking about how the big meeting went. So in future meetings, we have better meetings. We are meeting overloaded, and we're mission underdone. So we need to up the mission and still have meetings, but we're going to come back with stories to share about people. I don't know why we're not sharing stories in church about people that the congregation is engaging in gospel conversations. I don't know why we're not praying for the lost. 1 Timothy 2 says, when Paul's telling Timothy how to program the services, he's like, first of all, prayers need to be made for the lost. Number one, first of all. We spend more time in announcements than intercessory prayer for the lost in our church services, and wonder why we don't have revival. I mean, it's not brain surgery. I'm not a smart man. I just read the Bible, and I was like, okay, it's pretty clear. Why are we not doing this? And I think we've just inherited a system of church-wide ministry and youth ministry that is systemically broken. And but I think it's an easy fix. Yeah, we just need to get back to the basics.
We need to keep up
and actually do them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about social media. 27 years ago, you didn't have that. That has got to have made this explode, yes?
Yeah, it was great. When we did Dare to Share Live, we had more social media exposure than any time in our history, and a national conversation. We actually produced a video. I don't know if you've ever seen the silhouettes from America's Got Talent.
Oh, yes.
So
love them.
They're in my city. My daughter was a part of their troop for the last few years. It's not a Christian organization, but I approached them. I said, do you guys ever do any things for churches? She goes, oh, we do things for the Christians every now and again. And I'm like, okay, I'm one of the Christians. And so what if I wrote a gospel story and you guys, and so on our YouTube channel, you can see, we premiered it the day of Dare to Share Live. It's called The Silhouette Gospel. And it's a story from Adam and Eve through the resurrection. And it's in 6 minutes, and it's beautiful. And it's, again, you can go to Dare to Share YouTube channel and watch it. It's awesome.
Oh, I'm going to as soon as we're done talking, because we just absolutely love them, and this would be so powerful. Can't even imagine. I love the fact that one of the greatest tools to share the gospel, to share prayer requests, to share praise reports was invented by an atheist. I just think it's so funny how, God's saying, hey, who's really in charge here? Because I'll take your cool little social media idea and I'm going to use it how I'm going to use it. Do you find that just fascinating?
I think it's great. I think so many times we think technology is of the devil. And I think of the Old Testament story about Benaniah, who was David's bodyguard, who went up against a 7-foot-tall Egyptian with nothing but a club. The Egyptian had a giant spear, and he took the spear from the Egyptian and he stabbed him with his own spear.
Yeah.
And I think about that with technology and Satan. I'm like, yeah, he's using it for evil, but guess what? We're going to stab him with his own spear. How do you like that?
Perfect
and
analogy.
The gospel. What's that?
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah, it's a violent analogy, but it's
still
come from a violent family.
Does
so
the trick.
I like those Old Testament stories.
No, but that's exactly it. Where you're stabbing him with his own spear. I love it. You say that the main thing is spreading the stories. I'm sure you've gotten to hear some really amazing ones. Your own is pretty awesome. What kinds of stories do you hear while you're out there on the road?
Oh my goodness, it's like there's this kid. Last year we did Dare to Share Live, and we sent a camera crew, and it happened to be one of the smallest ones, and we were like, oh no, did we make a mistake? Because we're going to film stories, what's happening. Well, we get this story from this kid named Cameron, who was led to Christ by two teens named Stormy and Mateo, and they were trained and equipped and mobilized through Dare to Share Live. They reached Cameron for Christ. His life was in a downward spiral. His parents were cooking drugs on the, stove, and basically disowned him. He'd been stabbed and shot. I mean, all these crazy things had happened to him. But because Stormy and Mateo were equipped by Dare to Share, led him to Christ, and now he's leading other people to Christ and on fire, really setting the pace for the youth group. I mean, stories like that all across the nation, because it's not about Dare to Share. It's about the power of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God for the salvation of everyone who believes. And, people say, well, how can God infuse power into a propositional message? I don't know. How could God infuse power into a stick that Moses wielded to part the Red Sea? I don't know how that works. I just know it works, and I'm grateful it does. And it's the foolish things of the world that confound the wise. And so that's a case for the gospel being proclaimed, and it's a case for youth ministry, because there's nothing more foolish than a typical American teenager, and God loves to use the foolish things to confound the wise.
And there's something about it's okay. These kind of events where you kind of feel not alone, because when you are out there feeling alone and, oh, what if somebody will make fun of me, that kind of thing. No, you get to see with these kinds of events, you're not alone, and there is, I don't know, safety in numbers, but one person plus God is automatically the majority. So you're kind of, it's okay, isn't it? They get this sense of belonging even by participating in Dare to Share.
Totally. And when I was on Fox and Friends, there was a senior in high school that went to Dare to Share Live last year, and they asked her, why are you involved? And she says, because of the community. At Dare to Share, I find a community of teenagers across the nation that are passionate about the gospel. And what's cool is they come from different youth groups, but we're all united in a national community, and someday, God willing, this global community for the gospel of Jesus Christ, which is on one day, which is really, really cool.
Yes. When's the next one coming up? Are you planning one? Are they once a year, or how does this go?
So October 12th. And if youth leaders go, or anybody goes to dare2sharelive.org, that's the number 2, dare2sharelive.org, they can find out how their church can be a satellite site for next year's Dare to Share Live.
October 12th, 2019.
2019.
And we can get started right now. Start mobilizing now. Awesome. How do people find out more, Greg?
They can, again, go to dare2sharelive.org or dare2share.org, which tells you more about not just Dare to Share Live, but all the things we do, curriculum, apps, full-week trainings, all sorts of stuff. So dare2share.org.
Let's go through the apps one more time, because there were 3 different ones. What do we call them?
So Dare to Share app, free on iTunes, Google Play, the number 2, Dare to Share. There's Life in 6 Words, which is the evangelistic app, Life in 6, the numeric 6 words. And then Gospel Advancing Ministry. That's for youth leaders and pastors. Gospel Advancing Ministry.
Are you on social media as well? Is there something we can look up there?
I'm just at Greg Stier on everything. So GREGSTIER.
Awesome. It's Dare to Share. We've been visiting with Greg Stier. And Greg, thank you so much for what you're doing for the global community.
I love it. Thank you for what you're doing and getting the word out.